important that it's important that we do have a speaking demo and a writing demo, because it's very different to what we're used to. We're often more used to teaching grammar or vocabulary or reading or write or listening, but not used to these productive skills. So look out for whether I use Google Slides, Google Jamboard, Google Forms, or Google Docs in the lesson. All right. So let's begin with speaking. Right, so why are these dates important in Mexico and Colombia? December the 7th, which country is that important in? Is it Mexico or Colombia? December the 7th.
In Colombia?
Yes, it is, yeah. And of course, December the 12th in Mexico. So we're all Mexicans here, right? I am. Don't know about you. So, but what do they represent? December the 12th is what? The Virgin of Guadalupe Day, right? But what about Colombia? What's December the 7th? Paula, do you know? No idea, Paula?
Sorry, I didn't hear the questions because I changed of place. I have a problem.
I see. Do you know the significance of December the 7th in Colombia?
No, to be honest, no.
Yeah, it's the day of the little candles. The day of the little candles. But I think it's something similar to it's something to do with Advent, yeah, the beginning of Christmas. Okay, so you're going to hear some. It's all about important dates. This lesson, right? And you're going to be talking about some important dates in your life, right? Dates of the year, right? So I'd like Anna Maria's not here, so let's just have Christian and Paula. Okay, you're going to fill in this table, complete this table with information. All right, so the first person is going to talk about February the 14th, which is obviously Valentine's Day. Yes. Okay. So you're going to listen and write in the dates in the date column, and on the first listen. Okay, that's the first task. Just write the dates. Then on the second time, write why it's important. Got it? Okay, so I'm going to share with you the link. There you go. No, that's the link is here. Shared now. Please click on. Confirm that you've found your slide. Confirm with a thumbs up. Have you got it? Paula, what about you?
Yeah.
Please. Okay, great. So, and so you can you just check you can write something on your slide? Yeah. So, great. So what are you going to do when you hear it the first time, Paula?
We are sharing the dates.
You're just gonna write the dates that you hear. Okay.
Okay.
Don't write anything yet because you haven't heard anything yet. Okay. Write the dates that you hear and what on the first listen. On the second listen, why it's important. Okay. 2 simple tasks. Yeah. Let's begin. So, pre-intermediate. Here we go.
What do you usually do on
No,
February the 14th?
So that's wrong.
Always send my
This the pronunciation. Here we go.
Module 4, Recording 7. 1. February. Yes. Well, I put February the 14th, Valentine's Day. I always send my boyfriend a Valentine, and he sends me one too. If not, I'll kill him. 2.
This is a most important date in Ireland, St. Patrick's Day, March the 23rd. That's the national day in Ireland, the national day of celebration of all things Irish. It's the time when everyone can be Irish for a day.
3.
May the 8th is a day I'll never forget. It's the day I passed my driving test. Finally.
4.
June. I put Father's Day. I think it's the 20th this year, something like that. Everyone always remembers Mother's Day, but I always get my dad a card for Father's Day and give him a ring if I can.
5.
July the 15th. I wrote July the 15th because we're going on holiday. We're renting a villa on the beach. It's going to be fun.
All right. So let's check that you got those dates. Christian. Yes. So March was, the 23rd. April. Oh.
No, I don't listen.
No, there was no date for April.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I'll leave that blank here. What about May? It was May the 8th. May the 8th. Yeah. Like that. And June. June the 20th, correct. And July the 15th. Right, so good. Let's listen again and try to note down why it's important.
Module 4, Recording 7. 1.
February. Yes. Well, I put February the 14th, Valentine's Day. I always send my boyfriend a Valentine, and he sends me one too. If not, I'll kill him.
2.
This is a most important date in Ireland, St. Patrick's Day, March the 23rd. That's the national day in Ireland, the national day of celebration of all things Irish. It's the time when everyone can be Irish for a day.
3.
May the 8th is a day I'll never forget. It's the day I passed my driving test. Finally.
4.
June. I put Father's Day. I think it's the 20th this year, something like that. Everyone always remembers Mother's Day, but I always get my dad a card for Father's Day and give him a ring if I can.
5.
July the 15th. I wrote July the 15th because we're going on holiday. We're renting a villa on the beach. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, so let's just check. Got the answers right. Yeah, so it's St. Patrick's Day. San Patricio. Yeah. Oh, April was missing. May is like, past driving test. 20th Father's Day and holiday. That's correct. Yeah. Now, we're going to look at some of these expressions in the speaking. I'm going to give you a Jamboard. Okay, so we've got two categories: explaining your calendar and questions. Yeah. So I'd like you to please categorize the stickies according to whether you think they're used to explain your calendar of important dates, or questions to ask about another person's important dates. So here is the Jamboard. I'd like you to work together, Paula and Christian, please, to put them in the right category. Give you a couple of minutes for that. Please click on and confirm that you have confirmed with a thumbs up. You have it. Yeah. So move the stickies into the right place. You should be able to move them. Good, yes, that's all correct. Brilliant. Now, the next task is to listen to the expressions, either ones for explaining or questions that you actually heard on the audio. Okay, to make it easier for you, I'm going to have the audio script here, but I will also, so you can look at the audio script on the slide while I play. It should play. Yes, here we go.
Module 4.
It doesn't play at the same time. That's annoying. But you can see it, no?
Module 4. Recording 7. 1.
February, yes. Well, I put February the 14th, Valentine's Day. I always send my boyfriend a Valentine, and he sends me one too. If not, I'll kill him.
2.
This is a most important date in Ireland, St. Patrick's Day, March the 23rd. That's the national day in Ireland, the national day of celebration of all things Irish. It's the time when everyone can be Irish for a day.
3.
May the 8th is a day I'll never forget. It's the day I passed my driving test. Finally.
4.
June. I put Father's Day. I think it's the 20th this year, something like that. Everyone always remembers Mother's Day, but I always get my dad a card for Father's Day and give him a ring if I can.
5.
July the 15th. I wrote July the 15th because we're going on holiday. We're renting a villa on the beach. It's going to be fun.
6.
Right, so let's switch. So which ones do they tick? I put February 14th. Yeah, that was the first one. This is the most important day in Ireland. Yeah, that's correct. May 8th. It's the day I'll never forget. I think it's the 20th. I wrote. Yeah, that's all correct. We're very good. Now, I'd like you to try and help me put the missing words into this sentence, this question and response. Can you? It's on the same Jamboard. It's on page 4. See if you can move that. So. Good. Let's just listen and check the answer.
What do you usually do on February the 14th?
I always send my boyfriend a Valentine, and he sends me one too.
Good. Let's just practice this question because there's some tricky words in there. So the question was, what do you usually do on February the 14th? So the tricky ones, I think, are usually and February. So let's practice usually. Usually. Repeat.
Usually.
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 February.
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 How many syllables in February? February. No, there are actually 4, right? 4 syllables. February. 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 How many syllables in usually? Also 4. Okay, so let's practice the whole question. What do you usually do on February the 14th? Let's hear you. Paula, you first.
What do you usually do on February 14th? Well,
Good. Christian.
What did you usually do on February 14th?
Oh, good. Now, you notice that with these numbers, 40th has 3 syllables, and the stress is on the first syllable. Whereas 14th also has 3 syllables, but the stress is a bit different, isn't it? Yeah. The stress on 14th is on the teenth. Yeah. Whereas on 40th, it's on the first syllable. Another tricky thing is that at the end, so you've got to get your tongue between the teeth. 40th. Let's repeat. 40th. 40th.
40th.
Christian, 40th.
40th.
Good. Paula, 14th.
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 Okay, now can you put these other words into the right columns? Where do they go? Is it the first column or the second? The other ones. And the stickies. Yeah, good. And so the predictability is in the word stress here, isn't it? Yeah, they all have the same word stress. So let's say 30th together. 30th. Everybody?
30th.
Paula, 30th.
30th.
Christian, 50th.
50th.
Paula, 13th.
30th.
13th. You need to say the th at the end.
30th.
That's better. 15th.
15th.
Good. Good job. Aye. Okay, so now I'm going to give you the speaking task to do. So, where are we? Here we are. So, you're both going to get a calendar, and I want you to, in your personal calendar, include as many days as you can. So, this is yours, Paula, right? So try and include an important birthday or anniversary, an important date in your country, an important date from your past, or a day you've arranged to do something, okay? I'm going to give you like 90 seconds to do it, so you don't have much time to think, okay? Once we've done that, you're going to tell your partner about your personal calendar, and your partner can ask questions. What was the most interesting thing you found? So yours is on page 2, Paula, and Christian, you are on page 3. All right. So you both got your own personal calendars. All right, here we go. Into the Zoom. Coming now. Please click on. I'll give you 2 minutes. Maybe 90 seconds less. Yeah, 90 seconds. All right, so I gave you a bit more time than allotted. So I'd like you to tell each other about your calendars. And at the end, report back to the class on something interesting that you found about your partner's personal calendars. Christian, would you like to go first?
Okay. The most important dates in my case are on March the 20th to 23rd. Yes, 23rd. It's because it's my best friend's birthday. And on April 1st, it's when in my school are holidays. On May 10th, it's because it's Mother's Day. On June 20th, it's my brother's birthday. On September 15th, it's because it's the Independence Day here in Mexico. November the 3rd, it's my birthday. And finally, December 24th, it's because it's Christmas Eve.
Right, thank you. Paula, do you have any questions about Christian's time calendar? I'll put it up on the... No.
What do you do usually in Christmas Eve, Christian?
Sorry?
What do you do in Christmas Eve?
Okay. In Christmas Eve, my family and I make the dinner, make an apple salad that is my favorite. And also, it's the day when my brother doesn't work, so we stay together all the day.
Okay, basically, you jump to eat.
Yes, it's that day is only to eat.
Okay, well, more questions, Sandra, or just one?
That's fine. Thank you very much. No, that's a good way of doing it. Okay, so Paolo, it's your turn.
Yeah. Basically, I have a lot of family, so like 1 or 2 days every month we celebrate a birthday. As you can see, I couldn't write all the birthday, but I have 5 brothers, and all of them have children, and it's the same for my husband. So I come from big family. Do you have questions, Christian?
Yes. In that case, that it's a big family, how did you celebrate the birthday? For separated or together in a big party?
Sometimes it depends on the time that we have to celebrate, but sometimes we can join like 3 birthday, and other years everyone has one that we celebrate just one birthday every day.
Okay, one birthday every day. It's better to eat.
Well, the people, well, at least in my family, is wearing the big gift,
Okay,
especially the kids.
okay, perfect. Nice.
It was good to see your interaction there. Yeah, that's and if you want to get them speaking more, remember you're supposed to get them speaking for about 10 to 15 minutes, so you can get them to change partners. Yeah, that's a good way of extending the speaking. Now, if you could give them some feedback on some of the language, sometimes they don't know about the dates. Yeah, when it's a day in a month, it's on like on April 1st or on the 1st of April. Then there's a kind of silent the in there. Americans, they tend to put months first and then the day of the month. Yeah, but yeah, both are understandable, both are correct. But you can use this as part of the feedback. Yeah, don't try to spend too much time teaching the language, every part of the language that you can anticipate. Yeah, you can give it as feedback. It's a special tradition. That was from a different class. Pronunciation of niece's was something I focused on. Niece's birthday. Oh, yours was, I have a big family. Paula, you said I have a lot family. Yeah. We normally just say I have a big family. Or a large extended family if you prefer. Huh? Okay, so that was like the feedback on the content and language. Content is all about the quality of the ideas, and the language is, you know, things like the dates and so on in this case. Now, which tools did we use at these stages? What do we use in the lead-in? It was slides, right? What about the exposure? What did we use? What tools did we use there? Obviously, the audio was part of it, but which of the Google tools did we use? Exposure. So our lead-in was this. This was the exposure. Right, so it's slides again, right? So we use slides for the exposure stage, which is to like give them a model that they would listen to. In this case, it was an audio recording. It's important when it's can be important when it's speaking that there's an audio model, because they're acquiring a lot of this through acquisition. Learning language through acquisition. They're being exposed to good models of speaking skills. Useful language. What did we use? Was it Jamboard, Forms, or Docs? Can you remember those sticky notes?
Jamboard.
It was Jamboard, yeah. It's a shame that Google is going to be phasing out Jamboard, but they're going to replace it. There's going to be a replacement, I think, of some sort. Yeah, so this was Jamboard. categorizing, and then ticking off the ones they heard. It draws their attention to the useful language. Yeah, it's quite important that they they're kind of forced to notice the language in the text that will help them with the speaking. Use of these expressions makes them more fluent. That's part of the speaking skill. All right. It's been shown by linguists that we don't speak in individual words, that we speak in whole chunks, right? A fluent speaker has this store of prefabricated expressions in their mind that they just pull out when they're speaking, and it makes them sound as though they're more fluent than maybe they actually are. For the preparation of the productive task, what did we use?
It's Google Docs.
It was Docs, yeah. It was, yeah. You had to write your ideas down, right? That was like a preparation. You know, sometimes people need time and opportunity to make notes before they actually speak. Giving them time to prepare also increases the fluency and the amount of time that they can speak for. So that's pretty important. So that's Docs. And finally, feedback was Jamboard. All right. So Docs was this, like Word. Jamboard. It was the same Jamboard, but with just some stickies for corrections on it. All right, so ready for a writing demo?
Yes. Andrew.
Yeah.
In the speaking demo, well, in the speaking class, I can write some chunks on a slide, like an aid for the student, or not?
What can you write?
A chunk, some chunks.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I did. These are chunks of language.
Okay.
That I wrote on the Jamboard here, right?
Ah, okay.
Like, why is it important to you, and so on. So the idea is that they could use these. This is a most important date. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they can change it. Like, maybe I should have pointed that out, that you can change this. May, any day, yeah? September the 9th is a day I'll never forget.
Okay.
So that makes them... Yeah, and the questions they could ask to their partner, why did you put this date? Why is this important? So these are effectively the chunks, right? Help them to become more fluent.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe we need to stress that you need to use these a bit more. Yeah. So maybe that's something I needed to do more in my lesson. All right, now let's move on to this writing demo then. So here's the lead in. I'd like you to tell each other about a time you received an invitation to a special occasion. What was it? Was it a baptism, bautismo, a wedding, birthday party, or a graduation? When was it? Where was it? And did you go? Sorry, just the two of you. Couple of minutes to talk about that, please.
Okay. So when was the last time that you received an invitation, Paula?
In this year, it was, I think in March for a wedding.
On March for a wedding.
Yeah, it was well, they are on my cousin. I think it was a cousin. I don't remember.
Okay.
I have 50 cousins, so I don't
No,
50 cousins.
it's,
Wow.
it's too difficult. And when was it?
In other, it not was in Querétaro, near, in a place called Tequisquiapan.
Okay, perfect. Okay. And for you, Seth, you're finally go, no?
Well, unfortunately, my mom was so sick until now. She had been operated 5 times. So I couldn't go over there.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay, please ask Christian the same questions.
Okay.
Paula.
Do you remember when was the last time that you go a graduation?
Yes, it's my nephew's graduation. It was on August.
Okay, it was a bachelor or graduation of what level of education?
It's she graduates from the university.
Okay. Which career?
Which career?
What is the career?
Difficult to know. I think it's something the relation with business, international business, I think.
Okay, okay. Do you like to stay there?
Yes, I like it. Was interesting, and the place where was the party, it was so nice.
Okay. Did you dance in the party?
No, no, I don't dance. I don't know.
So what do you need your muscles if you don't dance? That's all on you.
Okay, great. Now we're going to read an invitation very quickly and answer this question. What does Andrew want Tony to do? And you've got 3 choices. Is it to visit him at university, go to a party in Malaga, stay at a house in Spain for the Easter vacation? Okay, so Paula, what question are you going to answer? What's the question you're going to answer, Paula?
What does Andrew want Tony to do?
Yeah, that's right. So the writer is Andrew. Tony is the person receiving the invitation. Okay, you've got 90 seconds, please, to read this and answer the question. Starting now.
We finished, Andrew. What?
Okay, please press submit. The purple button, press submit, yeah? See it down there at the bottom? Okay, let's see your answers. Yes, that's right. To stay at a house in Spain for the Easter vacation. What word do we use in Spanish for the word Easter?
Pascua.
That's right. Yes, it's good to just check that they understand, yeah, the text that you're using. Now, let's. It's the same email, but I want you to label the different parts of the email, please. So it's an email invitation, isn't it? Yeah. So Christian, you're going to be slide 1. Paula, you're slide 2. Yeah. So just match. You can see each sentence has a letter, and there are how many of them? 4 or 5? How many do you see? How many sentences? 1, 2. Actually, yeah. Not every sentence has a letter, but almost all of them do. The main ones, anyway. Yeah. So there are kind of 5 sections, yeah, to the email. Please label the parts of the email. Click on the Jamboard. You just move the stickies to the right places. Yeah, pretty good. You got most of the right stages there. Yeah, so personal news is A, correct. B is when the activity is happening. Because it says, yeah, Easter holidays. It's the time, isn't it? During the Easter holiday. C is where it is and how to get there, yeah. Fly to Malaga Airport and then get a bus. Contact details is D. And E is closed down. Very good. Excellent. Now, can you... It's a slightly different email invitation. Can you tell me what? Just read through it quickly and tell me what the invitation is for. Is it a baptism? Is it a funeral? Is it a wedding?
It's a wedding.
It's a wedding, yeah. Okay, so a little bit of language work here. You've got to, you can work individually and complete the gaps with the missing words. The numbered gaps have these connecting words missing. Right? The connecting words will help you to write better if you know how to use them. So is used to introduce a result, clause a result, but contrast. Since, refer back to a previous point in time, another different person or thing. Can you put them in the right place? Yeah. Yeah, so correct, first one. Yeah, that's also correct, D. But these need to be like that, because this is a clause of result. The new job has resulted in more money, but more work, right? And these are contrasting ideas. Even though I'm going away, you can phone my parents. Okay, so we use these to join our clauses together and make longer sentences are useful for writing. Now, let's do the actual writing. So, Christian, are you going to, on this slide here, I'd like you to write an email to a friend inviting him or her to a special occasion. It could be real, or you can make it up. Yeah. Use the headings to help you. So we've got personal news, when the activity is happening, where it is, and how to get there, and contact details and signing off. That should be your structure. Okay. I'll just give you a few minutes each to write your emails. Yeah. So Christian, you're on slide 3, Paula slide 4, and I'll give you the link again. Normally I would give my students at least 10 minutes to do this, maybe a bit longer, depending on their ability. You found your slide, yeah? See if you can write on there, no problem. Just try and write something on there. Cool. Paula, just check that you've got all the things, personal news, when the activity is happening, where it is, how to get there, contact details, and signing off. You can make up the contact details, yeah? And you've got about 30 seconds left. Okay, let's stop. And so now, what I'd like you to do is, Christian, I'd like you to read Paula's and put ticks or crosses to see if she's fulfilled all the criteria, right? So if she hasn't, then you put a no and a no, right? So you can, it looks like she's fulfilled all the criteria, right? Well, Christian has. So here's an example. Personal news. My sister has had another baby. Yeah, so that's personal news, isn't it? Paula has included that. Yeah. Paula, are you did you put these crosses, or was it you, Christian?
I was.
Oh yeah, so you've already read Christian's, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so you're satisfied he's included all the content, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So it's a well-written letter, yeah, well organized in the paragraphs.
Yes.
Yeah, and that makes it easier to follow the message, doesn't it? Because it's well organized. That's the main thing. That's more important than the actual accuracy of the language or grammar. The message is easy to follow. What about Paula's, Christian? Has she missed anything?
Well, it's in the email. It says where it was the vacation, but
Yeah.
it doesn't say how to get there.
How to get there, right? So it's partly, right? So you could say partly there.
Okay, probably.
Partly.
Ah.
Yeah. Partialmente. Contact details. Are there any contact details?
No.
No. So then we would put X, right? Okay. So this peer evaluation is very good because it makes the students more critical, right, of their own writing. Yeah, because they're being critical of each other and helps them to make them more aware of where they're not following the instructions. Yeah. So the idea is that the students do that with each other, and but then the teacher comes along at the end and says, "Okay, is there any are there any language problems?" My family's bigger now. That's fine. Has had, I think we would say, Paula.
Yeah.
I'm just writing to you. Yeah, in America, actually, in American English, they sometimes omit the two. I'm writing you because I want to see you during the holidays. I think we would say the next holiday. Going a bit too informal, unless you know each other really, really well. But gonna, it's like cartoon speech, yeah? Is going to be at preposition. My mother's house. Actually, you could say in, because it means inside the house. In my mother's house. But there we would say at the beach for the preposition. You know where to call. Hope to see you soon. Okay, that's all right. I think we'd use present continuous. What are you doing now? What are you up to? Going to get married is usual verb. Difficult for you. I think you mean trouble with them. That's the reason I'm writing you an email. Present continuous to emphasize the is going on now, yeah? That's right. But it's still an effective message, even, you know, the couple of small grammatical things, but in both cases, your message was very clear. Yeah, so it was effective. That's what you need to get across to the students. So that, you know, they can still communicate a message even though their language may not be perfect. Yeah. So let's go back to, that's the end of the lesson now. I've given you some feedback on language. You've had some feedback on the content. So what did we use for the lead in? Was it slides, Jamboard, docs? What was it? Slides, wasn't it? Yeah. And useful language. Oh, no, the lead in was, lead in was slides, but what was the exposure? Where did we see the text?
In form.
It was forms, wasn't it? Yeah, let's just review that one. It was here. That was a Google form. Yeah, that's quite useful for when you want to put a text into there, and then you can ask some questions on there. So it's for Google Forms. So that was exposure. What about the useful language? Then we moved into the Jamboard, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the first stage of the useful language really was like looking at the structure, right? Because the students need to know the structure. So I would say that right after that forms activity, we've got the Jamboard again, and it's looking at the so that's for the layout. And then we've got the Google Jamboard once more for like connectors, linkers. Like the but, so, because. At this level, pre-intermediate, they still need work on those. Then the productive task. What's the tool? Was it docs or was it slides?
Slide.
Slides, wasn't it? Advantage there is that you can check the students are actually writing. Yeah. If you get them to write on a notebook, they could be writing absolutely anything. Yes, especially younger learners, teenagers that get up to all kinds of mischief. So when you get them to write on slides, you can actually see that they were writing. And if they're not writing, you can say, are you having some problems? And then feedback was on the same slide, wasn't it? Yeah. Because they were using like a checklist, the feedback. So that is also on slides. So how did you feel about this lesson, these two lessons? Did you feel they were sufficiently interactive? Were you being, as learners, did you feel you were producing language?
The hard work is done for the student. So it's really a good opportunity for them in the productive skill.
Yeah, and it's as much the tools that you use that keep them engaged, right? Partly it's the design of the materials, but it's also these interactive tools. Okay, just before we finish, I'd like to go over some of the do's and don'ts of a writing lesson. Because writing is one of those areas that maybe you don't have much experience in teaching, and people tend to do just do a different type of grammar lesson, right? But what would you say is the main aim of a writing skills lesson?
Could you repeat the questions, Andrew?
Yeah, it's here on the board. What's the main aim of a writing skills lesson?
The students know about how to express, how to use connectors, and sometimes also know about grammar. It could be.
Yeah, very often the the lower levels, there's a bit more emphasis on grammar because just to get the message across, they have to have some grammar, but it's not really about grammar. Yeah. It's really to help them to develop the skill of writing, and this comprises several sub-skills, some related to accuracy, like editing for spelling and punctuation and proofreading, and others are related to how we organize and review ideas, how these are expressed in an appropriate style. Yeah. So, I mean, things you mentioned, linkers and connectors, that's part of organization. So does any writing in a lesson develop students' writing skills? What do you think? Yes or no? You can type your answer in chat. Yes or no? What do you think? Does any writing in a lesson develop the student writing skills? Yes or no? What do you think?
No, just a student need to write to develop their ability.
Yeah, it's actually more than that. We need to actually upgrade their ability. Okay. So just simply writing it by itself is not going to develop their writing skills. Do or don't. Only give writing tasks as homework, instead of doing some writing practice in class. Do or don't.
Don't.
Yeah, don't, because
you need to give feedback.
well, yeah, you need to actually teach these sub skills in class, right? Yeah. You can give writing practices as homework, but don't only do that. What about this one? Next question. In a writing lesson, do or don't provide a model or example of the writing task. Do you think that's a good idea? Do or don't?
Yes, do.
Yeah, like you saw today, we had a model, didn't we? There was an invitation that you could see and read. Yeah. And then we looked at the different stages of the writing, what we call genre stages. So yes, it's do. In a writing lesson, do or don't. Guide students through a writing process. So there's some brainstorming, there's some editing, there's some redrafting. You think that's a good idea? These are called process skills, the writing process. Do you think it's a good idea to develop these skills so that they know how to edit and redraft? Do or don't? Yeah, I mean,
do.
yeah, the answer is do, yeah, because some lessons are going to be more focused on the product. Like today, what is an invitation? Can we reproduce the invitation? But also we want to develop these skills of editing, and partly this process of peer evaluation that you did helps with the editing process. It makes them more critical. Yeah. So yeah, it's a good idea. Do we expect students to produce a piece of writing without any errors?
Mm,
No, we don't.
No, it's probably probably not realistic. Yeah, not desirable either. We can still write an effective piece of writing, and it will still contain errors, even though it's a good message. Do we require students to use specific grammar or vocabulary in the writing task? Think about your writings today. Did you both have the same sort of grammar? No, but even so, they were both effective pieces of writing. So no. Students might find it helpful, but it's not, they shouldn't have to. Yeah? Don't require them to. Can you provide suggestions of words or phrases students could use in the task? Is that a good idea, to provide suggestions of words and phrases? Suggestions, notice. Yeah, right. Do. So we offer them as tools to the students. Herramientas, right? Rather than something that they have to use. What about this? Give them time to edit each other's work. This can be useful. Yeah, do. Because it's part of making them critical. You might say that sometimes there are students who are very sensitive about having their work edited, but sometimes you can put weaker students together and the stronger students together so that they can, the stronger ones can bring each other up. Yeah. And you can maybe assist with the weaker students. It's a useful process. How about this one? This is controversial. Have students read their writing out loud at the end of the lesson.
Don't.
Why?
Because it's writing, not speaking.
Yes, that's right. Good point, Christian. Yeah. Unless it's poetry, which is meant to be read out loud, it doesn't make sense, does it? Yeah. Like the writing I gave you today was an invitation. You don't really read an invitation out loud. Yeah, it's something that you read in a more silent way. So you've got to think about what is the purpose of the writing, but there are other things as well. if you've got 10 students in your class, or maybe more, you're not going to have time for each student to read their writing out loud, right? In a class. It's also can also be boring, because what happens when the other students, when one student is reading their writing out loud, what are the other students doing? They're probably getting distracted. Yeah, if they're teenagers, for example. So it's not the best way to spend the time. Also, you're focusing on pronunciation, which is not a writing skill. It would be different if it was a poem or a speech, because those are supposed to be read in voz alta. Yeah, that would be different. Yeah, so don't. Think of some other ways you can get them to read each other's writing. That's why I gave you this peer evaluation checklist. Gives you a reason to read, but it's not reading it out loud. So just to summarize, key concepts in writing. All text types are written, number one, to communicate a particular message, or number two, to communicate it to somebody. What we write and how we write depends on who will read our message. And there are two basic approaches, and I'm sure that when you did writing lessons recently, I think it was it with Vicky or Tanya, they will have mentioned these two approaches, product and process. Now, the writing lesson I gave you today was it more product or process?
Product?
It was a bit more like product, yeah. But it wasn't entirely product, because there was some there was a little bit of editing, peer evaluation at the end. Yeah. So even in a product lesson, you can still integrate some aspects of process. And there are also some aspects of the genre approach as well. You may have heard of that. Genre involves how we study text types and try and reproduce them, right? With the different stages of okay, what are the stages of an invitation? What needs to go into an invitation? This is what we call genre stages. And that combines quite well with the product approach. If you're interested in the theory of writing teaching, something I'm quite interested in, because I teach academic English when I'm not teacher training. Okay, so any questions? Should we finish there?
Yes, well, in my class, if it's a talk about a postcard, I can't teach the 3 stages that you told me.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I mean, you can you could have your postcard on a Jamboard and use stickies you could get them to label the different stages of the postcard.
Okay, and in this case, I need to focus in one topic, or a postcard. It could be about anything.
Well, find a good model. Yeah, you could adapt the model that's on page 78 of the workbook.
Okay.
Yeah. Or if you think that's not going to be inspiring, maybe you could Mexicanize it a bit more. You know, I'm in Acapulco or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Mhm.
And maybe one exercise about connectors.
Yeah, that would be fine. Yeah. Yeah, or you could focus on things like gerunds, gerundios, as they,
Okay,
you know, yeah. So if you do the stages, and you could either do connectors or some of that more informal language, like the you know, the gerunds having a great time, or use of contractions because it's informal.
okay. And finally, the feedback is with the checklist, right?
Ideally, yes, will be good. But
Okay,
it's pretty easy to design, yeah. And the checklist would be the 3 stages of a postcard, which are greeting and update, more news, and closing and connection. Yeah. So they've got to include all of those.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, perfect.
And you could have an extra one. Is the language formal or informal? So you've got 4. And that's fine for a checklist, yeah? Because they won't be used to using checklists, so. And they're only low level. So.
Okay,
Don't get too ambitious with the checklist. Make sure the language also is quite simple in the
okay.
checklist.
And it's necessary that I read their postcards and maybe give a suggestions, or that it's not useful.
Well, I think the students usually find it useful to have some correction on the language. No? So if they're not using correct contractions correctly, or yeah,
Okay,
something like that, or the language is very slangy or too informal, right? Like using gonna, yeah. It's not. We don't really use gonna in writing, yeah. Even in informal writing, it's usually I'm going to.
okay, perfect.
Yeah, gonna is more like speech or cartoon speech, like Spider-Man, you know.
Andrew, could you give me a hand with my class? I am. This is page 48.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Then. Let's have a look then. What question do you have?
Well,
But
give me.
remember, Tanya is going to help you with that on Monday, but
Okay.
I can give you some help now if you wish, but yeah, go on. Page 48.
Yes, of the student book.
Yeah, 48. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Speaking. 48. Oh, is it the radio interview with Wes Clark? This one. Is it this? Are you sure it's 48? Oh, yeah. Describing people. Huh. Oh, it's cutting edge at pre-intermediate, isn't it? That's why. Okay. Got to make sure it's on the right page, first of all. Page 48. Yeah. Okay, so figure out what's your useful language, first of all. So you've got language to describe the subject and to ask about the subject. Is there an audio you could use?
For living, what do you recommend me to use?
Setting the scene, like there's been a crime. So there's been has there been a robbery? So let's have a look at page 142 and 145. So here's the, like, you could use this as part of the lead in. Thieves stole diamonds from some of the apartments. Turn to page 140 to see a picture of the man you saw. You have 2 minutes to look at the man, the picture, and remember the man's face. Think about age, face, skin, and build. Okay. Let's have a look at page 140. That's him. And okay, so then one person is going to look at that picture. The other person go back to page 14. So you need to have people in pairs to do this, don't you? A and B. It's going to be a bit tricky if there's only one student. So you're going to have to ask one of the teachers to participate as maybe student B. Instead of group, it's just going to be student A and student B. 145.
Well, I can be the student B, like to help her do the activity.
No, I would nominate one of the teachers. Get one of the teachers to be student B, because you need to be facilitating.
Okay.
You need to be setting up the activity. Some of the words you might have to clarify, like diamonds, lift. Yeah. But don't spend a lot of time teaching vocabulary.
Okay.
What you want to do is see how much they can describe using their own resources and the useful language. Right? You could give them a bank of vocabulary, yeah, but don't spend any time teaching that. Right? It's just like a resource that you give them. Okay, and then so one person is going to describe the picture and the other person is going to identify which of these faces is the person. Huh? Now, they don't give you an audio for the exposure stage. However, you may consider it useful to, I don't know if you'll have the time or resources to do this, but you could actually record a dialogue of someone describing a picture.
Okay.
Like he's got grey hair, he's got a mustache but no beard. He's wearing glasses. You know, a simple description. So then say, okay, which person was it? Yeah, and you could have numbers on these, like, and say, okay, it was number 7. Huh? So you could make your own model, audio, and dialogue. And the advantage of that is it gives the students a good idea of how to do the speaking task. So you don't have to explain too much about how to do the speaking task, because you've actually giving them a demonstration through the audio. Yeah. But it takes a bit of preparation because you've got to write the script. It's a bit, when you're trying to explain the student how to do the task, it's a bit like that game Adivina Quién, yeah, which everyone in Mexico has played, right? So it's a bit like Adivina Quién, but you've got to try and adapt it to online.
Yes.
Now, the language for the speaking task is this. Yeah? The useful language on page 49. That will help them to do the speaking. That should be your main teaching focus when you're thinking about the useful language.
Okay. This is going to be the last activity. They must speak with using that phrases.
Well, that will be the speaking task, right? They've got to describe. One of them has got to describe their picture to the other one, and the other student has got to decide which picture it is based on the description. Yeah. Yeah. So you can more or less follow this this framework. Lead in, exposure. That could be your own dialogue. Or you could then, you may decide not to use the exposure and go to more or less the useful language and show them how to do the task.
Okay.
Then they've got to describe, one of them's got to describe their picture to the other student who's got to then tick off. It's like an information exchange or information gap activity. You've got to make sure that one student has the picture of the suspect and the other student has the different possible pictures. For it to work, right? It's called an information gap. One student has some information that the other one hasn't.
Okay.
Well, if you have any, think about it. If you've got any further questions, you can ask Tanya on Monday, but at least you know you've had some ideas, right?
Yeah, thank you, Andrew.
It's a good idea to anticipate you're doing the right thing. It's a bit of a tricky one, that one. All right. Any further questions?
No.
Good. Sure, you will have some more questions, but Tanya will be there on Monday to help you. So good luck, and I will see you next Wednesday.
See you next Wednesday.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, Christian. Bye, Andrew. Thank you.
Bye, Paula.
Put the recording on the usual place, yeah?
Bye.